Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for hosting this markup this morning. Today, we gather to discuss 10 pieces of legislation that span the gamut of our capital markets, banking regulatory system, and the way that Americans purchase flood insurance. While some of these proposals are modest or incremental in nature, seeking in good faith to make improvements to existing law, the vast majority of bills we will consider today represent the next phase of a coordinated attack on the proper functioning of our financial markets. Whether it is undermining the structure and independence of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, denying proper funding for the Securities and Exchange Commission, or deregulating of our largest banks, the majority has been bent on using this committee to undo the important work we crafted in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. And soon, on the House floor, I fear there will be attempts to gut the administration's rule to rein in conflicted retirement advice, as well as efforts to once again use the budget to undermine protections for mortgage borrowers, payday customers, service members, and students. The American people, on a strong bipartisan basis, broadly favor efforts to properly regulate the financial services sector. When we use this committee to advance the needs of special interests rather than working people, we squander the trust of the public and fail in our obligation to protect the least of these. So far, we've seen dozens upon dozens of piecemeal bills looking to undermine financial reform, either under the guise of capital formation or somehow giving consumers the freedom to access harmful financial products. And soon, if press reports are any indication, the majority will switch gears and work to repeal sections of Dodd-Frank entirely, including the Volcker Rule and the creation of the Financial Stability Oversight Council. And while we continue to churn out bills that are not well crafted or arrived at in a thoughtful bipartisan manner, our Republican counterparts in the Senate refuse to do their jobs. In fact, despite months and months of waiting, the Senate majority refuses to consider nominees for key posts, from the SEC to the Federal Reserve to oversight of terrorism and financial crimes at the Treasury Department. That, of course, is not even addressing the vacancy on the Supreme Court. Finally, Mr. Chairman, let me say that I'm disappointed that while we continue to spend countless hours on this committee on attempts to undermine Dodd-Frank, we neglect the issues that present the most pressing challenges for our country, including and especially homelessness in America. For example, Mr. Chairman, are you aware of the fact that we currently have 600,000 people in this country who are homeless? And are you aware that of those people, that over 173,000 of them are basically unsheltered? These are people who are staying in places not meant for human habitation, including the streets, abandoned buildings, vehicles, and parks. And are you aware of the fact that homelessness in several major cities has increased, with homelessness in Los Angeles growing by a staggering 20% in just 1 year? Despite being asked by nearly every Democratic member of this committee to hold a series of hearings on the state of homelessness in America, we have not held one single hearing on the issue, while we continue to churn out bills on this committee whose consequences are not well thought out. We fail to properly address the dire, abject poverty facing too many of our fellow Americans. Well, with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time, and happy Independence Day.